Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. And today's video, we have a special guest. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So,
Absolutely.
as you all know, he is another Eden's Global's community manager, aka a social media guy. So, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to the Another Eden channel, and they'll really appreciate it. And links will be in the description below. Anyways,
Thank you
he
very
does
much
have
for
a
that.
surprise for us all. So, Scott, what are we doing today?
Yeah, we thought we'd just have a little bit of a discussion, a little bit of a chat together. Get to know each other better. One of the things that I'll say that our team wanted to make a primary focus this year was to find new ways to engage with our audience in a little bit of a more meaningful way, which is why you'll notice starting in January, we started doing things like the live streams and things like this reverse meme challenge where people upload their own screenshots and I have to caption every one of them. I've been doing a little things on Reddit and spying on Discord. And we've been trying to do little things like that to really, I guess, take our relationship to the next level.
Excellent.
For Another Eden.
Awesome. So again, first of all, I'd like to thank you and as well as the producers for taking the time out of your busy schedules to do this. And I guess we had talked about this kind of collaboration before, and I know we did do the boss rush, which I hope everyone who's watching did enjoy. And again, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do check out Another Eden Global's channel, and they have that video right there. As for myself, we're going to be doing basically a question and answer period where Scott's going to ask me a few questions. I'm going to ask him a few questions, and then we're going to kind of take it to the producers where we have some answers from them, and hopefully that gives you some information more about the game, stokes your interest, maybe get a little bit hype. Who knows if we're going to have a juicy nugget of two or as well.
Maybe.
Excellent. So anyways, Scott, I know we talked about this beforehand, but apparently the producers had some questions for myself, which is actually really surprising. I wasn't sure that they would be interested in a small player like myself.
Well, I think you are. I don't think you should undersell yourself there. I think that you are a very well-known member of the Another Eden community. I think you represent the community well. And I know that and the producers are interested in really like the community at large. So they want, like I said, this year we've had an increased focus on wanting to engage with our community in new and different ways, and this felt like a perfect example of one way that we could do that. So one of the first questions, and they're a little bit scattershot because when I say producers, like there are different members of the team had their own questions. So one of the questions here, give me a moment, I'm looking at translations. In your opinion, are there any impressive bosses or enemies in Another Eden? And let me know like why. Are there any that are too difficult to beat or like particularly fun to fight with?
Oh, that's a very good question, actually, Scott. I would say that based on my personal experience and the fact that some content got actually released for global at the same time as Japan, there are a few bosses in the last year where global players were at a slight disadvantage. And so I did feel that of all the bosses that I've faced so far in the game, the twins from the P5 or Persona 5 optional boss was one of the toughest ones I had to challenge. At the very beginning, it was there were very limited team compositions in order to do so, and some of them did require some top of the line units, some recent units. And so actually, for those who are following my channel, I actually didn't beat it for a couple of months afterwards, but it was an exciting time. And that's the one I think I would say enjoyed the most. Although, of course, since then, it has been a little bit easier. to defeat that one. So Scott, I'm hoping that you can do that in a future episode of your live stream.
Yeah, maybe you'll have to walk me through that one like you walked me through the boss
rush. Sure.
Awesome, very cool. What about so moving away from bosses, kind of a similar question, but except for like environments. Are there any like levels, environments, dungeons, towns, outdoor fields or things like that? Like anything, any environment that stuck out to you and why?
In terms of, I guess, sticking out, I guess we can bring up a couple of different areas because I'm not really sure which way we want to discuss this, but in terms of what I enjoyed in terms of walking through, say, the overworld, I would definitely say the alternate time layers for, with the first night when we walked through the very beginning in the almost like the forest. It gave me the vibes that really reminded me of Muse side quest back almost a year before that. I think they used similar music, and so I really got that kind of nostalgic feeling, and I really enjoyed that per se. Not to mention, I'm a big fan of Annabelle and Deidre's side story, of course. If you're talking about stark contrast in terms of the overworld, I really did enjoy the very first time I went to the Eastern, from the way that it progressed from taking a boat from Rind and having that really excellent cutscene to the fact that when you wander through the areas, it's almost like a stark contrast. You go to that mirror, area, and then you go to the the ruins. You go through the the field. It's very, very enjoyable, and I really like seeing the different kind of contrasts and similarities between the different environments.
Cool. What about what would you like? What kind of content? And this is probably a bigger question here, a bit of a leap. But what kind of content would you like to see us implement into the game? So, for example, like we recently debuted the boss rush, which we collaborated on. Something like that with maybe like a rehash of dungeons or the story of some character or some event or something like that.
I definitely would love extension of the boss rush where, and I know this has been talked about a lot on the subreddit where, we'd like to re-challenge a lot of those bosses that we can only beat the one time, because at the time, of course, some of the content was, extremely difficult. And now with the enhanced units that we have nowadays, for example, Leviathan can be beaten in one turn, whereas before it took a very strict series of rotations in order to beat the boss. And so I would love to have an almost like a boss rush where you have to fight these enhanced versions of those old bosses which you can't fight anymore. So that would be a really nice addition to the game. So yeah, something like that would be great. In terms of new dungeons, I mean, obviously we have from following Japan, I believe we have dungeons to grind a light or shadow for all the units out there. I know that there have been clamorings to always have increased drops in either 3DCs or chance. Of course, a lot of players need those to side grade. So as something to that, Other Lands it would be nice to kind of revamp the Other Lands dungeons, because at this point you don't have access to 3DCs. The rewards are very small compared to, for example, running the Garalita dungeons, where you have a lot more possibilities of good drops. And so I would love to kind of go back there and maybe have a chance of getting some extra rewards and complete my collection.
Interesting. Cool. Moving down our list here, Another Eden is a single player game. Do you find that the fact that it's a single player game makes it difficult to make videos for?
Actually, I want to say no. I actually think that having a single player game is much easier, in my opinion, to make gameplay and videos for. Now, mind you, I haven't had any experience making YouTube videos for other games. This is actually my first foray into YouTube as a content creator. But I imagine just the fact that I can kind of go offline, so to speak, play by myself, formulate strategies and things like that. I do find it a little bit easy to create content in that sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as a YouTube content creator, do you have any do you have any like, is there something that you would like to see implemented that might make your job easier, that might make your work as a content creator easier?
Are you talking from another Eden's global standpoint where they can offer additional tools, or are you just talking from YouTube in general, just the kind of mechanics behind that?
I mean, it could be either. Like, so, you know, whether or not it's focusing on content that is more friendly for actually generating, you know, YouTube content,
Oh, okay.
or it is some sort of functionality that, like, just kind of makes your, like, perhaps, yeah, you know, one thing that comes to the top of my head as somebody who is always taking screenshots of every little bit of story.
Yes.
There was there have been a couple of times where I have been going through dialogue and I caught something like, I can make a good meme out of that. And then I accidentally tapped and went past it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
went, oh no. And then I had to close the app entirely and open it up again.
Okay.
You know, like they do have the log, but you know, like I can imagine a feature where we could like more easily access that kind of thing, or even like go back or you know, and relive other things. But I guess what I want to know from you is like, how about for you? Is there something that you think it would make your life as a content creator easier?
Okay, well, if you're talking about in general as a content creator, for myself, as you probably know, Scott, I usually do gameplay videos both on walkthroughs, which is kind of like a real-time thing I'm exploring on my own, or obviously as new content drops, either boss fights or new chapters in either side stories or the main storyline. I kind of play it as I go, either record it and then kind of edit it and publish it. In terms of talking about meme creations, and I know that there are some YouTube you know, content creators that do that. I think definitely a replay function on either the storyline and or personal quests, for example, or even any of those kind of yellow exclamation quests would really make things easier for, like you said, generating memes, or just kind of maybe just kind of cut and paste and kind of make your own kind of story, so to speak. I think that'd be really neat. Like I said before, the aforementioned refighting old bosses either in their current form or in their more difficult form would allow content creators, especially newer ones, to kind of go back and challenge that. And especially for older ones like myself, I could kind of show some additional maybe techniques that could be used for that.
So not
finally,
necessarily.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Not
necessarily like you know, adding these bosses to the boss rush, but actually being able to replay those kinds of one-time bosses in the condition, in like the same condition
yes,
as
exactly.
they were played in that one time. I see.
Yes, either in their existing condition, or perhaps like you can choose like different levels where you can almost like, it's like the practice dummies in NetGem. You can kind of use any team composition, and yeah, that'd be really, really great. So and one last thing I would say, that if you know, there for on another Eden Global's you know, obviously in terms of the development team, they probably have almost like a developer build where they probably have access to, for example, all the units out there. Maybe if that was ever an option to give some content creators almost like access to all the content, where, for example, either all the units or kind of even sneak peeks and play testing those things, that would be kind of really neat in that sense. Although I imagine the logistics of having that content out there might be a little bit difficult to manage.
I'm imagining kind of like how I don't know if you've ever watched Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I have. That's my generation, exactly.
Right. I'm imagining something like a holodeck that Worf trains in.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You know? Where you can just go in and kind of set your parameters and go at it. And I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. I mean, by the way, don't take anything I say as like, oh,
no,
Right Player's gonna do this.
Definitely. These are all like ideas out there. We're just having having fun, honestly.
I am not the person that makes those kinds of decisions.
Oh, I totally understand.
Definitely, but like the team does value and that input and does want to hear that. So that's why we're asking these questions. So for a little bit more broad kind of question, why did
Okay.
you start playing Another Eden?
Oh, I think my story is actually very similar to a lot of players, especially those who started in the very beginning. That is the very origin of Another Eden Global. I don't recall where I came across the game. Um, I must have been surfing through my app store on Apple, and I came across this game where the description was essentially, created by the writers of Chrono Trigger, and
Mhm.
single player Japanese role playing game. These kind of
Yep.
experiences, and I wanted to relive that area of my life. That was the high school days when I
Mm.
first played and finished Chrono Trigger, and
Mm.
yeah, I wanted to give it a shot. And as they always say, you step in and you never look back. So that's kind of
Mhm.
it.
Cool. Yeah, I had a similar thing. Of course, obviously, it's more related to my professional experience
Of
these days.
course,
But I also grew up a huge fan of Chrono Trigger. And last question
of course.
from the team: what do you think about the Another Eden community?
Um, I haven't been, I guess, involved in too many other communities, being that I don't play that many games. As I am gamer dad is a working dad, and so we have limited
Yeah,
time to kind of play things. But that being said, the
I'm a
subreddit, from
dad.
what
I'm a
I
dad too.
understand,
Yeah.
oh, cool, cool, cool. Um, yeah, the subreddit is actually one of the more friendly ones out there, from what I understand. I've come across that from visiting other kind of communities, and they say that the Another Eden subreddit community is one of the friendliest, most supportive communities out there. And so I have nothing but good things to say about the subreddit. In terms of the Discord community, I'm not a member of Discord. I actually don't have a Discord account,
Mhm.
surprisingly. But my understanding is that it's also very informative. They have a lot of areas to discuss and throw ideas. So I really have a good experience joining and being part of the community, actually.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. Obviously, I'm not going to come on here and say anything but nice things about the
Of
Another
course,
Eden
but
community,
still.
but I hope people understand that I'm sincere when I say that this is definitely one of the most. I agree with you. It's one of the most positive communities that I've worked with, and it is it's an absolute, like, I think they help to make it an absolute joy. Aside from like the team at Right Flyer Studios, the quality of the game, all that other stuff, like they make it an absolute joy to work on. So I feel very fortunate to be involved in any way.
I'm jealous, actually.
I think that does it for the producers' questions for you. Um,
Excellent.
I'm happy then to answer any questions you have for me. And full disclosure here, I'm sure you would have done this, but you sent us some questions ahead of
Of
time
course.
so that we could get their answers translated. I haven't really reviewed or thought about any questions from me, but I do have. I will be speaking in regards to your questions for the producers on the behalf of of the producers. Do you want to ask me questions first, or do you want to get answers from the producers first, or how do you want to do it?
Um, Scott, why don't I ask you a few questions about yourself? And uh,
Okay.
I'm sure most people in the community do know who you are, and I did
Mhm.
obviously introduce you, but there are still a few who are, still relatively new to the game, and we're still attracting more and more newcomers, and hope that continues to, the community continues to grow. So,
Mm.
that being said, let's start off with this first question here I have for you.
Mm.
I know you've shared your origin story in the past, but for
Mm.
those who haven't had the opportunity to come across it, would you mind just retelling it to everyone, actually?
Sure. So how far do I go without actually doxing myself? um, I grew up. Well, it all started on a farm in 19. No. Um, I grew up a military brat, moving all around the world. But my introduction to gaming started very early. I was 4 years old when I got a Nintendo, and when Chrono Trigger was released. I was about 11 when Chrono Trigger released, and it then became and forever stayed my all-time favorite game. It is just like everything about this. It was a Chrono Trigger to me. Was my introduction into gaming as a medium for telling compelling stories. I didn't think about video games in that way previously. Before they were like, oh, rack up the points, how many endless levels can you go and what's the highest score you can get and things like that. And I'm not saying that there weren't games with good stories before that. I'm just saying that was my kind of introduction into this world where you could tell compelling narratives through video games. And that's why it had, I think, such a big impact. And obviously, we know the scenario writer for Chrono Trigger is Masato Kato, who is the scenario writer for Another Eden. So, flash forward, many years in the future, I moved to Japan and kind of really lucked into this opportunity where I could help be involved with this game, who's, by the way, guess who wrote the scenario for it. I couldn't be more excited even at the opportunity, and then the fact that I got it, and then like how well it seems to be going. I hope the community thinks that it's going well.
I think it's great.
Yeah, that's it. It was it really was the fulfillment. And then I think I told you this story after we finished our recording on the collaboration, but I'll retell it here, which was about, I think it was maybe 3 months into my relationship with Right Flyer Studios. I was working out of their office one day, and I was playing the game because a lot of my job has to come from playing the game in order to capture content and to keep up with new content. I was playing the game, and I finished the main story for the first time, and they have a credit roll, and the credits rolled, and of course you see, the person we've been talking about, Masato Kato.
Right.
Masato Kato.
That's an awesome card.
Brag. His name comes up first, and then about 1,000 names later, there's my name in the global marketing area. And it was the first time that I'd seen my name in a game credit roll, and to see it like with basically one of my storytelling heroes. It was a huge emotional moment for me, and my team members were sitting across from me, and I had to stand up. I gotta go to the restroom. Hold on a minute, and I literally left to go to the restroom so that I could shed a few tears because I was just so caught up in the moment.
I can get it. Yeah.
It was pretty overwhelming. Yeah, that's kind of and ever since then. It's just been, like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure, both in terms of working with the team at Right Flyer and with the community.
No, that's a great story, Scott. And like I said, when I said I'm jealous of you, I am actually, to do something that you're so passionate about, is almost like a lifelong dream. Very few people can say they are involved in that. So, hey, congrats to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so moving on to the next question here. A lot of us here on Global do enjoy the content that you have on Twitter, such as the wallpapers, the memes, of course, cooking videos, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the favorites were the limericks, which were a very nice touch. Now, which one is your favorite, and which one did you find the most challenging to make?
For sure, the cooking videos were the most challenging to make. That was the cooking videos were, it was just kind of a thing like, what's popular on the internet, right? Like what kind of, or how can we reach new people? How can we diversify our content to make it more interesting? receiving food from all of the inns and houses and hotels and all the place where you restore your HP and MP, you get some kind of food, and there's a description for all of the foods, right? Like sometimes it even tells you a little bit of some of the preparation details that go into some of the food. So I thought that it would be kind of cool to, like, what if we made some of these things come to life? We've had a little bit of that experience before here in Japan with the collabo cafes that we did. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but
my friend visited that actually in Japan. Yeah? He went to Japan a couple of years ago. I still have some memorabilia from there, actually.
Oh, really? That's so cool.
He brought it back for me. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, like we had some experience where the cafes came up with their own things, but I thought, oh, maybe I could do my own thing. So we only did two. One of which was Fine's sandwich, which obviously is the one that you have to start with, I think. And then I did the joke one for April Fools of that year, the ice cream stew. That one was the most ridiculous because in order to make these videos, like we had at the time, we had like a little studio that we could rent space from that was specifically designed for making those kinds of like bird's eye, like top down food videos. So they had a whole setup. There was lighting, there was, the camera, there were monitors, like there were like racks and racks of cooking utensils and dishware and just things that you could use for a cooking video. Like the whole studio was designed for that. And I go in there. I don't know if you saw the video, but I walk in there with like tubs of ice cream and just bags and bags of different candy. And I'm throwing the ice cream. I'm doing things like getting the ice cream out of the box and then slicing ice cream up into like it's bread. And then carefully placing in like distributing bits of candy into the ice cream, like loaves or slices.
Oh my.
And then just like throwing all of that into a pot and melting it. So they're, completely like ruining the whole, it's because it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a joke. So but nobody in the studio was privy to what I was doing, so they all just thought I was crazy for doing that. But yeah, I mean, it is like, for a minute and a half video, I forget however long it is. It's a lot more work.
It is really short, yeah.
It's a lot more work than it seems like, between like the preparation, going to the grocery store, planning, like how am I going to do this, like timing where the funny bits are going to be, and then actually shooting the video, doing all the editing for 3 different languages. It is that was probably the most difficult one to do. As far as the most fun, probably that one too. But I also liked the limericks as well. Sorry, I keep bumping the table, so I think I'm probably shaking on camera. I like the limericks too because I like the improvisation aspect of it. For those of you who weren't aware, the way that I set that up was I asked people to just nominate a character to write a limerick about.
That's right.
And I would try to, like, in the moment, think of a limerick right away, and then like create the graphic for it and upload it as a response. So that required a lot of quick thinking and quick, I mean, the Photoshop template was already set, so it's not like it was this whole big, all the work was mostly done. All I had to do was change colors and replace text and the character. But it was still, it was fun because like I had to be on my toes for it, I guess. Probably something that I will be revisiting again. Hopefully I can revisit that again sometime in the near future.
Looking forward to it, Scott. I think a lot of from the feedback I've seen, anyways, I think a lot of people really did enjoy, and obviously you work really hard in promoting and doing some fun things with the community, which I think everyone likes to do.
I also thought about changing it to haiku. Don't know if that would work as well, but anyway.
Oh, is that 575? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, haven't touched that since high school. So that would be fun.
Yeah.
All right. What's it like working with the producers and developers of Another Eden? Is there a fun or interesting story that you can tell us from your experiences?
Well, I think I told two of those experiences where, the ice cream stew story and the credit roll story. Another interesting story. First of all, it's it's an absolute joy to work with them. It's one of the most, I think, positive and supportive. I mean, very much reflective of the community itself. Like the production team, the development team, is a very supportive and positive group of people. I remember one time we had a team building meeting, and I believe this was, I'm trying to remember exactly. This may have been around the start of the pandemic. So it was maybe one of the first times that we did our team building remotely instead of in person. There was, I want to say maybe 20 people ish at the team building. And it was, once again, this was like soon after the pandemic started. So it was like, I want to say it was like the third week of April, which of 2020, which was pretty close to my birthday. And, I hadn't really, I don't really talk about my birthday much, especially at work, especially. But somebody kept track because at some point during the meeting, everybody decided to change their background to a fan art that somebody made of like some guy as like super husbando.
Wow.
And they had written like "Happy Birthday, Scott" on it. Like everybody changed their like virtual backgrounds to that. Like kind of in recognition that I have, through a lot of what I've been done, I've kind of created almost a mythos for some guy among the community. I don't know if you've seen like some of the memes and some of the talk, but I'd like to think that some guy has a bit of a different reputation these days than
he is very prevalent in the community. And actually, I know you haven't seen any of my live streams, but people chat and talk about some guy like you're a legend. So yeah, very, very prevalent. It's awesome.
I feel very awkward for taking credit entirely because the community also, does their own like, is responsible for so many things. But I definitely made it an intention of mine early on to try to focus a lot of memes around some guy and to try to keep a through line of like he's mysterious and powerful and all those other things. So that was, it was that, and that's where I got, and I was humble bragging earlier, but at the same time, they also sent me this autographed card by Masato Kato, which was, again, just very, very like, they went out of their way to show that they cared. So yeah, absolutely. It's an absolute joy, I think, to work with the team.
Awesome. Okay, just to wrap up the last question I had for you, Scott. This is an easy one. Is there a way we can purchase a Vario plush like the one from your social media posts? I know that a lot of us can't access the Japanese store, so see if you can hook us up.
Unfortunately, like I even have trouble with that hookup sometimes. I sadly don't even have Vario in my possession at this time because the JP team needed him. And also because we're in lockdown, I kind of took him home, right?
Oh,
And it wasn't mine to take home,
right.
so I had to give it back to the office. But yeah, I hate to answer this way. There's no way that I know of to get your hands on a Varua plushie. I personally hope that changes someday, but yeah, that's uh, at this moment, no.
No problem, Scott. I know you tried. Okay, so thank you for answering those questions, Scott. That was great, and I hope again for those who are watching that you got to learn a little bit more about our our social media guy and some guy, and he's, just in case you need to find him, he is on the subreddit from time to time. I know that he does lurk on the subreddit as well.
Yeah, and I'll spy a little bit on the Discord to see what's going on. But yeah, comment on Facebook or add us on Twitter. I'm in Reddit and I'm watching the Discord where I won't respond probably,
Right.
but I'm there in the shadows. So yeah, reach out.
All right, you heard him. Reach out. Okay, so in our next part of the video, as you discussed earlier, Scott, we did forward some of the questions that I came up with and forward them to the producers and development team, and hopefully they can answer a few of the questions that I know a lot of our community wanted some answers for. And so we'll just get right into it if you don't mind. So as you know, Melissa was our very first and only global first content. Is there any global first content currently in the works? And if so, can you tease us with small detail?
So before I start, I just want to mention that like we said, I'm reading answers that are translated from the producers. I'm specifically speaking on behalf of our new producer for the global version of Another Eden, Rayan, which actually you will not know yet as of the time of this recording, but by the time this video I think gets uploaded, everybody will know. We are introducing as the new producer for the global version. I think probably in about 8 minutes from now, as of the time of this recording. But I'm speaking on his behalf. These answers are from him. So in regards to your question about global content currently in the works, he answers, we are currently thinking of many plans for global users to make you more excited and fun and have more fun playing. And they're definitely thinking that global first content could be included as options. I don't think we can give teases, and this is me speaking now. I don't think we can give teases as to what those might be yet. However, as Rayan said, that we could include global first content as option, as possibilities for future content.
We're definitely going to be looking forward to that for sure. So there's a hidden quest in the first night episode that I was never able to solve. It's the one that takes place in the Parallel Layers Rind from the first night episode, of course, where we're asked to help a girl find her lost puppet. Can I get a hint, or is there more to this quest that will come out in the future?
Once again, speaking as Rayan, this quest is for the players who have been playing Another Eden thoroughly to find the solution. We know that this is a very difficult quest. However, we hope that you find a whole lot more pleasure when you complete it. Therefore, at this moment, we're not planning to change anything on this quest, but I will share your comment with our dev team as a difficulty level issue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. On a related note, there are some very extensive guides on to this game on Ultima, the Another Eden wiki, and the Reddit created by players all over the world. Are there any hidden quests or Easter eggs in the game that haven't been discovered yet?
We don't know if they are all covered or still not discovered yet. So please try to find them all.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I guess I have to go back to the game and just kind of plow through that one more time, Scott. As a free-to-play player, I've
Hmm.
always appreciated the fact that it's possible to beat all content without using paid chrono stones. And I've always wondered how the producers balance out content from the free-to-play standpoint. During testing, are there staff that actually fight the content with only free and story units to make sure that it's possible?
Yes, that is correct. Dev members are constantly playing the game to test the content. They use different team compositions, and we take a lot of time for game balance adjustment.
I see. My
Um,
next question, yeah,
mhm.
go ahead.
No,
Okay.
that's all. Please.
Uh, the next question I have for the, I guess, producer is, I love voting on and seeing the anniversary character popularity rankings. And I'm sure we have all favorites. So I'm wondering, who are the top 10 most popular characters among the producers and development team so that we can compare them to the top 10 list for global and Japan as well?
Mm. So all of the dev team members are devoted to Another Eden and all have different favorites. So we can't make a ranking. But as for me, again, Rayon, I
Okay.
love all characters because they have different kinds of attractiveness. So it's difficult to choose. However, Seal has been my all-time favorite.
Okay. Is there one question that you wish that we asked you? If so, what is it and what would the answer be?
The question that we would like asked, I guess, would be, what do you find most attractive about Another Eden as a producer? And his answer to that would be the dramatic scenarios, the wonderful background music, attractive characters, beautiful fields or environments, and many other things. If I could emphasize one point, there would be it's the fact that there is no limited time content on Another Eden, so that you could play any kind of content whenever you want. We would like to continue keeping this policy.
Okay. No, if you could extend a very warm thank you to the to producers and who for all the team members who've contributed to these questions. I really appreciate it, Scott. It
Absolutely.
really shed a lot of insight into you know um, the kind of the background of people working with Eden, and obviously, like I said, they're all very passionate
Mhm.
about the project, and moving forward, I'm looking forward to more epic and awesome content in the future. And I will say, in response to that last question, I
Mm.
do also appreciate, and I know a lot of people in the community really appreciate the fact that nothing is time limited. You can join at any time. You can play, and there's nothing that you really miss. I find that one of the best aspects of the game. And not only that, I find that it's very respectful of your time. And
Mhm.
what I mean by that is that, many people have different varying abilities to commit time to any sort of game, whether or not it's this
Mhm.
one or maybe some other ones out there. And the fact that you can kind of pick it up, put it down, and you're not really missing anything, it really
Mhm.
helps us kind of keep excited and attracted to the game and able to kind of work towards that, work towards the very end, so to speak.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I'm it's one of the things that I'm very proud of. I think one of the best selling points about the game uh, is that it doesn't have that limited time, and people, yeah, like you said, it's very respectful of people's time.
Again, I really appreciate getting the chance to ask, uh, you as well as the development team and producers all these questions, and I really hope we can do it again soon, Scott.
Sure.
Before we close, do you have a message, or do the producers have a message for the fans of Another Eden Global?
Yeah, I'll first I'll say our new global version producers Rayon's answer, which is thank you for playing Another Eden, the cat behind beyond time and space. Uh, it encourages us to keep the game running. We are trying to be uh, uh, we always we work very sincerely and earnestly on this game and your continued support for Another Eden. is truly appreciated. As for me, Scott, I would probably repeat what I said before, which is, I'm very grateful to basically everybody that's not me who has any involvement in this, from the development team to the community to content creators like you, who all like come together really to appreciate this story and this experience and make my my job as a community manager so fulfilling and such a positive experience. So yeah, I just want everybody to know how thankful I am.
No, and we're thankful to have you as part of the community too, Scott. I like the fact that you're relatively accessible. I like the fact that you are you're a funny guy, and it really shows in your work. And I like that. It's awesome, actually.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Again, Scott, thank you for giving myself and the fans exclusive content straight from the developers. And this was really fun and informative. And I look forward to more content like this in the future, either with myself or maybe other content creators as well.
Yeah, I do too. Hope we can do this again sometime soon.
Okay, so anyways, everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.